officer would claim that around 6 a.m., he observed inmates Cherry and Hoyer fighting. Inmate Cherry armed with a rock and inmate Hoyer armed with a lock and a sock. The officer would claim he ordered both inmates to stop and that both complied. A simple fighting ticket, basically. 1090 Jake would go on to claim that the contents of this ticket were not true. He would state that the Blood Brothers told him not to fight back and to lay down and just bleed, so that when the officers came, he would look like the victim and not have to move out of the door. On February 4th, 2014, a handwritten inmate grievance was filed by inmate Jacob Cherry, Department of Corrections number C07652. The grievance would tell 1090 Jake's version of the story to the warden of the prison, and this is what it said. On January 16th, 2014, I was sitting on my bunk when inmate Jimmy Horry, K08763, hit me with a rock and sock on my head. This was during morning shift change. The officer came in and cuffed him, then checked all the inmates and found Mark Cherry was also assaulted. More staff came and then cuffed me, Mark Cherry, and Jerry Lewis. We were all taken to the back room of B dorm. Inmates Horry and Lewis were said to be the assaulters and me and Mark Cherry the victims. I then witnessed Sergeant Martin start beating.
They in the chat, so help me please. So you agree that was you who wrote all this out?
The whole thing I wrote, bro. I'm writing to the warden. Like, look, this the situation I'm in. You gotta make it sound some type of something.
Nah,
like,
yeah.
What I'm gonna be like, hey, warden, I'm big gangster, but let me out of confinement.
You did, so you basically saying that grievance, or you know what I'm saying, the statement that people seeing is not no low forward or no fake.
Nah, I wrote that.
So you definitely wrote it.
They were like, oh, it says Mark Cherry. Nah, Mark Cherry is somebody else. That was the Zoe that got hit in the back of his head.
So they're gonna be on you. They're gonna be like, so I thought, you know what I'm saying, I thought niggas ain't supposed to write nothing. You're supposed to not talk to the police and say. So like, how do you answer to the people who gonna say that?
This is a grievance. The grievance goes to the warden, then goes to classification. So this is how you get out of confinement.
Saying though, like the grievance that you wrote out or whatever, you had to write that to get out of confinement. Like that's like a mandatory thing, or you was just working your move or something.
I'm gonna be honest with you. Nobody really gets out of confinement. If you get a DR, you're pretty much not gonna get out of it.
Another question they're gonna be on. So like, did you have to write that grievance out, or like that was some came to you with? Like, how did the grievance even? How did you know what I'm saying? Because some niggas right now they saying it's not a grievance.
I requested the grievance.
So you did request.
I requested. Yeah. So normally, if you request a grievance, you pretty much signing up to go to war with the police.
Yeah.
Because they know you're gonna be complaining about something they did. So when you go for a grievance, you're signing up to go at it with the police. That's really who I went through it with. So that's
so you don't feel like that was snitching though, like even writing that statement out, like you don't feel like damn, I shouldn't have did that one?
Nah, because it had no effect on nobody.
Because I was already in jail. Like,
only were we already in confinement.
Jake, man, you said his name, bro. You know what they about to say, bro.
What are they gonna say?
They gonna say you a rat, bro. You wanna know this? You know this, bro.
Yeah, gonna stand.
You said the nigga name. So let go. So wait,
hey, so you saying you can write a grievance, but if you don't mention the person in the grievance, then it ain't rat.
Hey,
how
so
you gonna? How that ain't rat?
Yo, it's Big Ant, the spokesman, man. We back. Another edition of Urban Politicians TV, UPTV. Make sure you stay on your pivot at all times, man. Had to come tap in, and we gonna spill the real, raw and uncut, unsugar-coated, and bring reality to this unproductive conversation and try to work it into something that can be productive and taken from it. And I'm adding links in the description where you can watch the clips in the beginning at. First, the one that hit my Instagram timeline at, where there's a guy breaking down 1090 Jake's grievance letter of where he wrote a letter to the warden and told exactly what another prison inmate did to him. And then also with 1090 Jake went live with a guy from No Jumper Remo, and then they ended up bringing other people to join and everything. And then end up another YouTuber, King AK-47, came on and said, hey, you wasn't supposed to say that nigga name. Nah, you wrote that nigga name, man. You know what they gonna say. And what they gonna say is something that me not being a gangster, me not being a step of myself, me not being a killer, me not being a member, but me having a lot of common sense and growing up around niggas, growing up around black people, growing up around the culture, going to schools, malls, movie theaters, being around this stuff my whole life, all over the place, that's considered telling. Ain't nothing to politic about, ain't nothing to, oh, we can move it here, a gray area, nah. You hit some yards, you hit some cliques, you hit some gangs, how they moving, how they rocking, you will tell the tale. You wrote that nigga name down on that paperwork. It don't matter if you did it intentionally or intentionally. You did it. You don't know how to perform when the pressure's on. You made that mistake, if you want to call it that, but you could have said the inmate or whoever, a guy hit me. But you writing his name out, some niggas can hang that over your head because they got zero tolerance. But as I tell y'all all the time, bro, it's always gray areas depending on who you around, who rocking with you and who stepping with you. Don't look to this internet to raise you up in the real world, bro. Because these niggas on here is strictly for entertainment. Be entertained if that's what you here for. But I'm going to bring productiveness to the conversation. For one, me being a nigga, ask yourselves this, even people that know me, y'all know I'm not no gangster. Y'all know I ain't that. But guess what? If that came out on the internet, if me being a grown man in prison and writing a nigga name down and saying what he did for me, no matter what the reason is, for me to get out of solitary confinement or whatever, speaking on a nigga behalf, and that nigga and writing letters in there to that warden, boy, that nigga foul, that nigga rotten. It's gonna be people who don't want to live the real and speak into reality. We've seen the videos where the rappers have over-talked in the interrogation room. You want to know why I say technically they didn't snitch? Because on some of their situations, nobody got locked up for it. Nobody went to prison for it. They never got nobody time or an investigation was launched after what they said. But once the niggas see it and it's out there, oh, nah, nigga, you was talking and telling. It is what it is. Same thing here. Technically, niggas can say, well, you ain't snitch, but nah, nigga, you told. You gave up information. It don't matter if they already had the information or not. That's how the game go. But I'm gonna tell y'all like this. If you don't wanna be a part of this lifestyle, where you gotta be quiet at all times, ain't no saving yourselves, sometimes you might have to put your family and your kids on the back burner. You might have to do this or do that or do something that don't make no sense. You might have to go to solitary confinement and shut up. You can't write no letters about what happened with an incident, because that ain't the same. You can say, man, the guards doing this, telling on the police. That ain't telling. We know that. But you asking and giving a nigga name up, we know what that is. It ain't nothing to talk about. Don't compare that to nothing else that's going on out here. It is what it is, bro. If you don't want to be a part of that, I suggest you find something productive for you to do outside of the streets, because all of that come with it on either side. And there's rappers in the game who they told that niggas gonna still listen to their music, a YouTuber that they told on a nigga name before, or wrote a nigga name down on paper before and gave it to a warden, niggas is still gonna watch his videos. You wanna know why? Because they are there for the entertainment. Look for real life actions in the real world and move according to yourself. But no, most of the time, what niggas is really selling, they selling for your entertainment. It just is what it is when it comes to this street stuff, gangster stuff. But the prison yards and the hoods across America are full of a lot of niggas who would never do none of these tellings, write niggas' names down, and there's niggas in these prison yards who are serving their time because they took responsibility for their actions. That's how I was raised. It ain't about, hey, nigga, this for some gangster and street stuff for me. It's about, hey, bro, if I did something, I got to wear that. Hey, I signed up for this street life, I got to stand on that. Ain't no making no exceptions or nothing like that. But when you put it up here for it to be discussed, a bunch of people who ain't never been around that or grew up around that gonna have opinions about it. Tell me what y'all think. We got more coming, more videos, all that. 1,000 for shit show. Stay on your pivot.